Hey Scorpio, how y'all doing? So you Scorpios have the star card, Three of Cups, and then you have the Ace of Wands. I started talking and realized, you know what I'm saying? I ain't even turned the camera on, but luckily I got it, picked it up within the first few seconds. You Scorpios basically want a support system. Like I said, y'all are out here single, ready to mingle. Y'all really want to get to know people, and uh pretty much. You want to get to know people, but you don't want to get to know just anybody, right? Somebody being dysfunctional and all over the place and just stuff like that. So the situation with you is that a lot of you are very much so um, happy to be single and ready to mingle and mingling, right? At least you don't have to deal with someone who you're not a good match with for you, and then the next thing you know, you gotta be all up in their face and they're all up in yours. And you also have the Ten of Swords and the Eight of Swords. So the situation for you Scorpios is also too, you felt like you were missing something at the end with this X, but now you can actually catch up on that, because at least you're free, at the minimum. If we can't say anything else, at least you Scorpios are actually free to do what you want and explore your options, like I've been talking about. We all have options, like I said before. We don't have to stick with anybody whom we don't want to. It's called freedom of association, which is a real freedom, by the way. It's a real thing. And yeah, so the thing is that for you, a lot of these Scorpios may feel like you don't necessarily know where to start, though. You're single and you want to mingle, but you Scorpios don't know where to start. I'm gonna be honest with you. My suggestion for you Scorpios, honestly, is to don't go up to people and talk to them. Go up to some people, talk to them, but just take into consideration that the vast majority of times you probably not gonna get a wanted effect. Most people meet online. Most people, when they want to talk, slide in the DMs, reach out, try to say what's up, say hey to the person, and all that good stuff. It's not a matter of like, it's not really a matter of like, it's not really a matter of like, um, how do I say? It's not really a matter of like, you're gonna actually be successful. Some of you might be successful, but I found from, I go out, I live life for real in real life. I don't just sit up on the internet all day. I actually go and try these things out. That's how come I know for a fact, because it's lived. The majority of the times you're not really gonna get a wanted effect, mostly face to face in the real life. More often than not, you'll more than likely get a better effect online. A lot of people are a lot more uncomfortable with physically social interactions. You would actually have a better chance than getting to know somebody online and then meeting up that way than you would face to face cold approach. So there's your answer, pretty much, right? Pretty much, because I find from my own personal dealings, it doesn't work for the majority of times. And the one that it worked, again, I said no because they were too young. I was like, nah, I'm cool. Like, nah, I'm cool. I mean, they were young, and I'm like, nah, I'm cool. And like, I saw them again, and they, cause she said hi to me, and I was like, "What's up?" But it was more so of like a father daughter kind of thing, or like a brother to a sister kind of thing. It was like, nope, because I asked the person, I was like, how old are you? And the person was like, oh, I'm 13. I'm sitting and I'm standing there, and I'm just like, I'm like, why do they? look like an adult. Short shorts, the way that adults do, not too short, but the Daisy Dukes, the Daisy Duke shorts, you know what I'm saying? That they wear in the summertime, because it was during the summertime. But I was like, nah, no, thank you, I'm cool. Like, nah, no, thank. I'm like, nah, no, thank you, I'm cool, no, thank. But this happens, so it's like, these kind of things occur in real life, where it's like you got to really be on point, especially when it comes to real life, because more than likely it's not going to work in real life. The majority of how I meet people is not in real life anymore. I used to, but of course, I still meet a lot of people, but it gets to a point, my dear Scorpios, where it's not something where it's beneficial for me. I'm more so, if it's cool, then it's business interactions in real life, face to face. So then you have the Ten of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, and then you have the King of Swords for you. So the situation, I'm glad I dodged that one, yo. I was like, how old are you? I asked, because I was just thinking to myself, I was like, yo, she looking young, but why is she wearing that? Walking her dog and all this stuff. And, I'm accustomed to shorter people, because I'm taller. I'm 5'7". I'm taller than the majority of people who live in my neighborhood. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I'm not even going to lie. I'm being very serious. I'm taller than the majority of them, regardless of who you talking about. So I was like, why you just seem so, but I was thinking to myself, I was like, why does this person seem kind of like immature, but at the same time dressing like that? I was like, let me ask this person, how old are they? I was like, how old are you? 13? Nah, I'm cool. No, thank you. I was like, all right, okay, all right, cool, all right, you have yourself a good life. Maybe I'll see you around, but keeping it the F pushing in the other direction. No way, you couldn't pay me for that. So the Ten of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, and the King of Swords here represents how a lot of you Scorpios, you're in a place where you have a lot to offer. The Ten of Pentacles is about having a lot to eat, a lot to offer, having the things that you Scorpios want. And the Eight of Wands, but again, the Eight of Wands is like conditional, though. The Eight of Wands is more so about for the right people, right? The King of Swords not trying to wrestle to be in a relationship. If a person don't want to be with you, then they're not going to be with you. And then you have the Ten of Wands and the Eight of Cups. These two cards right here for you, Scorpios, the Ten of Wands is about how, again, if you don't want to be around a person, you're not going to be around them. And if you see that they're wasting your time, then you're not going to be around them. So this is about you, Scorpios, really getting down to business, because what I'm seeing here is that you have a lot to offer. But you're single, though. And a lot of you Scorpios are trying to get to know people. But what I'm also seeing too is that it makes you feel kind of like you can't really do anything to a certain extent, because the Eight of Swords, because you feel like some of you Scorpios may feel like the people whom you're meeting is not a match. It's not giving, as a lot of people say now, but it's not a match. Some of you Scorpios feel like it's not a match. And so very nice. Some of you Scorpios may feel like it's not a match. And so the situation with that is that some of you Scorpios may feel like you're kind of off balance. Let me show you. You're kind of off balanced when it comes to the people that you're interacting with, because they're not your speed. They're not really, some of them may not really be equipped to dating or equipped for dating, right? If they got together with you, you would end up having to pay for everything. And I'm gonna be real with you. You got a lot of people who haven't really grown up, they haven't grown up. They don't have anything, and so they use relationships as a means of a come up. I haven't lied to you, Scorpios, right? This is where you get the bum individuals with the people who are super like independent, right? Right? The super dependent people who are attached to the super independent person who has it all, because these are the relationship dynamics that we have today. But that relationship dynamic is not considered healthy. This is why I was saying the 50-50 thing is the only relationship dynamic that works, because I don't want to get too deep into it, but um, the reason for that, is because it's the truth. That's a parasitic relationship, you know. So that's what it is. That's what it is that I suggest for you, Scorpios. I suggest you, Scorpios, kind of get at people through the DMs. Understand that another thing too that I'm picking up. Understand that a lot of people are weird. Understand that, you know, you Scorpio. It may sound weird, but understand that you Scorpios might be not as weird as you may think you are. You know, I've met some people who don't look like some of their pictures. I've met some people who, you know what I'm saying, who they trying to line me up and I wasn't going. You feel me? They was trying to line me up. So let's clarify the Eight of Cups and let's get out of here for you, Scorpios. I wasn't going. You know what I'm saying? You have the Nine of Ariel, the Nine of Michael, the Nine of Raphael, the Page of Raphael, and then you have the Eight of Gabriel. So the Nine of Ariel, Nine of Michael, and then you have the Knight of Raphael here represents how you're in a place where what you got going on is that, to clarify, the Eight of Cups. So it's the walking away, right? The Nine of Ariel, the nine of Michael, and the Knight of Raphael represents okay. See, again, you Scorpios, you once again, you got to understand how to date. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm teaching y'all how to date from scratch. Not that I have a problem with it, but I'm just saying, like, you know, I don't really have a problem with it, to be honest with you. I think you Scorpios have enough common sense to really want the game and to understand it and to learn how to do things so that you can actually like improve on. So, you know, again, you got to understand that a lot of people are weird. Everybody has their own thing about them, right? Everybody has their own thing about them. It just depends on what it is. You know, I've met this. I've known this for years. I've experienced this. So when it comes to meeting people, whether it's offline or online, understand that. Understand again that you can try to get at people face to face, but understand that the majority of the times you may get told a no. It's more so likely you're gonna find somebody online, you slide in their DMs and say what's up to them. Another thing too for you Scorpios as well is that understand that when you do meet people, you know, really understand what it is that you're going for. You understand? Don't let people zap your pockets, use your pockets, drain your pockets dry. They using this date thing as a means of like having you spend a bunch of money and all this stuff. Like just spend time with them and really understand what they are looking for. You know what I'm saying? And see if the two of y'all can come to some sort of common ground. If the two of you can't come to a common ground or they're weird, you don't have to communicate with them again, pretty much. And then you have the page of Raphael and the Knight of Gabriel. The page of Raphael here represents, because you gotta, like, people are not accustomed to dating. That's another thing too. Like, people are not, like, y'all might be okay with it or good with it, doesn't mean they are. So it's like you could try to hang out with a person, you taking a person out. Let me explain something to you. All these dates, all these dinner dates, all this stuff we got to spend money and all that goofy nonsense. Listen, what I suggest for you Scorpios to do, honestly speaking, is to really go out and park somewhere and go hang out, or go walking around and go window shopping or something like that, or and then going to an ice cream shop, or something low budget. And when I say low budget specifically, I'm talking about something that does not cost you Scorpios a lot. Because truth be told, I'm telling you, I don't spend a whole lot on my dates. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I'm gonna be transparent with y'all. I don't spend. I used to spend. Um, I don't spend a whole lot on my dates, and I'm not looking to. And the reason for that is because why? Right? Like, I'm me personally, and I'm giving you Scorpios the game. I'm accustomed to not being around the people who I'm trying to get to know for a long amount of time. And it's not because I want to, but because I find out me and the person are not compatible. Like one of the people that I had here, not gonna tell you her name. Her name began with a K, and we just weren't compatible. She calls me back, and she was like, "Hey, if you want to hang out, I'd be your best friend for a fee." And I'm like, "Nah, no, thank you." You know what type of time that is? You know? I told her no. I was like, "Nah, I'm cool, shawty. No, thank you. I appreciate it, though." You know? Because the way that you came off like you and I were supposed to be cool. You never, like, why you never said anything? Like, you never, like, I never, you know what I'm saying? There were signs that I have to take responsibility for that I should have looked at. But so many people move like that. But when she showed up, what she was dressed in, though, you know what I'm saying? Face to face. And so it's at that point I kind of knew, like, okay, it was a revealing a lot. But then at the same time, to call me some days later and be like, XYZ or whatever, it's like, nah. So you got to understand that when it comes to the dating and stuff like this, you're not really supposed to be spending a lot of money, because these are people who you don't know, and these are people where there's no guarantee you're actually going to get a chance to see again. So really relax and do something really that you enjoy and that they might enjoy, right? Or maybe you might enjoy as well. You don't not necessarily have to know 100%, but something that's not really going to cost you a whole lot. And if the person can't understand it, well, it's their loss, Scorpio. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the video. Trying to get the YouTube channel to 100K. We're approaching 29,000 subs. Smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, hit the notification bell, set the notification bell to all so you can be notified whenever I drop my videos. If you Scorpios want to come through and get a personal reading, the link to that is in the comment section below. Code link.